Brownsville Area School District Board of Directors will meet for planning session on Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 at 6 o'clock p.m. in the Future Ready Center of the Brownsville Area High School, 1 Falcon Drive, Brownsville, PA, for general purposes. Roll call, please. We don't do roll call, right? And Pledge of Allegiance is on here, so we do not do that usually for planning, so folks, you're in for a real treat. We'll save that for the regular session. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move right into public remarks on agenda and non-agenda items, and I think we have a busy evening. I think we have 5 that have signed up.
Charlotte and Gibble is the first one. We have 5.
Okay,
Do you want me up here or back here?
wherever you'd like.
Am I good right here?
We can hear you.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm just making sure. Okay, good evening, members of the board. I'm coming, one, to follow up with the concerns that I brought up last month. I haven't had any follow-up. These concerns were serious concerns. I do have a copy of everything that I sent you right here. So I would like a copy of all of that information that I asked, because these are concerns with serious violations with the Title IX and the disclosure form that I requested and all of that. But you guys have that information so you can deal with that, like, you know what I mean? So what I really want to go into is the social suspension policy. I am genuinely concerned because I have a daughter who does the musical. Now granted, she's in the elementary, but if she was in the middle school or high school and followed, now she's in musical, and then we just did this for social suspension to where it's what, one letter or something, I believe it was, but the way it was changed wasn't fair. Because if one kid in a musical or in a band miss for any of these clubs, they're down. Anybody like that? There's so much work that's tied up. If these kids get on social and there's the same amount of pressure for these students in these drama clubs and band, just as much so as sports. And I can say this because I'm a parent with all aspects. So I really think that you may want to revisit this policy situation where you're changing it for the sports but not for the musical. Yeah, we were talking about it last month. It was talking about changing it, sports to follow the PIAA, I believe it was. I could be wrong on how I'm stating it, but we were talking about changing it. But the clubs would still follow what we have in play. And I want to make sure that that's not going to be like, it has to be the same across the board. And I just want to make sure that this isn't what we're doing, because that would create more pressure for these kids. And if we're trying to bring these kids into these activities, we don't want to deter them, because these policies do help boost these activities, keep the kids engaged in class, and everything else. There's a reason behind this policy. I fully understand this. But we have to make sure it's fair across the board for all students. If you were a band student and you found out you couldn't go on a trip because you were on social suspension for 2 bad grades, but yet this volleyball player could go play at a game because they have, what, just 2 bad grades, but you know, we only took the one. That ain't fair. I'd be mad and I'd want to quit. So that's something that we need to address. And then my other concern is, and my daughter brought it to my attention, and I don't know how to handle this, but there was a student that I know that has repetitively been in a fight in this district. This is middle school. Now, I won't go into details because, as we know, we can't. But my concern is how is a student who is repetitively into fights and instigating still here? This is pushing our good students out. This is why PA had to pass that truancy law, because this is why kids miss. Kids do not want to go to school and deal with that same behavior, and it pushes good kids to react. For every action, there's a reaction, good or bad. So this is something that we really need to think about. I'm not trying to be smart. I just want to know what the clear guidelines are on how do we handle this as a district, so I can better advocate maybe for these kids and parents and myself. Because that is a legitimate question. How are you a repeat offender, but yet you're still here? But we have others who have less offensive and have been removed. Like, I'm not the judge or jury over here, that's your all's job, but like, how do I advocate when I don't even understand? And a student can bring this up to me, so that's what makes it even more alarming, that if a student can notice the difference, then maybe we need to relook at this as the adults and reevaluate it as a whole. And that's all I got, sorry.
Thank you.
I have Marissa McFerrin, but it doesn't look like she's here, or Jane Ball. So Edie, suggestion.
Hi everybody.
Hi.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Eva Suggested.
You are essentially by saying a student athlete is held to this standard, and we're just gonna say musical because that's what I'm here for, is held to this standard, that somebody's behavior is more important than somebody else's. I don't know how you go to a student and then explain that to them, that because you are in a sport, you can have bad grades and have poor attendance and still go and support your school by doing so. But if you're in the musical, sorry about your luck, you can't do so. There are 84 students in our district that are in the musical from kindergarten to 12th grade. I might be wrong, but I think we're the largest participation group in the entire district. Our students, we are very lucky. We have yet to have a lead cast member fall under social suspension guidelines during a show week. Our kids respect our program. They do what they're supposed to do. They turn in their work, they come to school, they behave the way that they should behave. So we aren't necessarily stuck in a situation where we are down a cast member that we would end up being, well, how do we perform a show without them? We're lucky. However, are we changing the guideline because there is a sports team within our district that doesn't respect their program and they are constantly being held to social suspension guidelines? So we're just going to wiggle room them so that they can perform? How is that fair? When they become adults and they have careers, their job's not gonna say, you're not performing, you're not attending, let's just change our guidelines and let you still do that. That's not the way to set these kids up for success. We need to have the same guidelines across the board, whether it's sports, whether it's groups, whether it's band, musical, whatever it should be. We cannot have two different guidelines. It makes no sense. Please reconsider that decision. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, on the last two speakers, I may have made a mistake on my vote with that, but I think I misunderstood how this is supposed to work. Because I concur with her,
I agree.
that all things have to be equal here. All things have to be equal. We cannot, and I'm part of the problem because I voted the other way, but we cannot treat one group different than the other.
Thank you.
I mean, maybe I made the wrong vote. I'm just going to admit that I just maybe just didn't understand how this was going to get down. So maybe we need to discuss this in another.
I agree with you.
I just, and I
I voted against it.
I thought
Well,
of it.
that's why we're here. We're here to be able to explain what our thought process is.
And I see exactly where you're coming from. Actually, I knew this before that. It's just, I question my own vote.
And we support, like we said, we support the social suspension policy because we understand these kids need to be held to a standard because in the real world, they're not gonna be coddled. And these are, especially the high school students need to be on board. But it has to be fair across the board in order for us to, as parents, even enforce and instill this into our children, because if they see one group versus the other, it causes a rift.
Yeah.
Mr. President and Dr. Martin, it just comes up to a vote again. I will vote the other way. That's not how the vote, what the vote total was. But I know I wasn't a voter.
And speaking of this, and I'll bring it up when we discuss the minutes, but the minutes had reflect that this was a 9-0 vote. This was not a 9-0 vote.
No.
It was a 6-3 vote, and that needs to be corrected.
Absolutely.
The minutes need to be corrected. Last month, myself, Ms. Vogel, and Mr. Delarose voted no. We were the 3 no votes, and I would, before we approve the minutes, I would like my vote to be accurately reflected, because I believe the whole people's standards, and I'm a strong proponent of what we had in place. And I want to be certain that my no vote isn't, before these minutes are approved, I want to be certain that my no vote is reflected.
And I also want to make that clear, because I did vote no last night.
Just a question, with the solicitor not here, are we, have the authority to make a change? Take a vote?
We have to do it. To be honest with you, I have had a lot of votes since I've been on the board this term and the last term, and there's not, I think I've counted 2 votes that I have made that I wish I could go back and change.
It happens.
This is the one. This is one of them. I didn't feel right when I left that night. I should have voted for it. I should have voted against it.
It happens.
So
again.
my point is, from my perspective and where I was, I
think there's still a part of this that we need to work out for athletic eligibility. I get your point 100% because what the problem is in the athletic side, and I don't have a solution for it, I'm afraid of showing problems, is that we are in an unfair advantage against a lot of other schools when it comes to athletics. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what my thought process was. And I've studied this for a while, and you know, if I had to do it all over again, I'd vote no, and it has nothing to do with my wife ripping my face off when I
Well,
had nothing to do with that.
Mr. Gammon, it does happen. Mr. Gates and I have been on a long time. There's times when I'm going home and say, I don't think I go the right way.
Yeah.
And this is one of
We
them.
have to look at it, so it encompasses, I thought it encompasses everything.
I did too, so
We have to
my
look at it.
apologies to that effect. It has to, everything got to be equal across this board. I don't care who it is, I don't care if it's baseball, wrestling, whatever it is. Everybody has to be treated the same. I misunderstood this. I will change my vote absolutely. If it comes to it tonight, I will make a motion.
Okay,
That's all I have, Mr. President.
thank you. Judy, do we have, I think you said maybe someone else?
This is George.
Okay.
So I'm here representing a good bit of the teacher club sponsors, and some of the teachers attended, and a few that are not here that did not write a letter, basically support social probation as it stood before. So being a club sponsor, I can tell you, I can see when those kids try harder to get out of the situation. Now, we all know at one point in your life, you're probably gonna get a speeding ticket, right? So that's how I explain social to these kids. At one point or another, you're probably gonna mess up somewhere, but it's okay. You just serve your time, get over it, move on. And you just hope it's not opening night at the musical, or you check your grades more that week, or you make sure you're trying to name your parent excuses for being late, whatever the case is. But it's not a big deal when they're on it. And kids manage it all themselves, they'll talk. So when I watch a kid, the list from social, go from a certain number to another number because of homecoming, there's no reason they're on it for sport. If they really wanted to play that sport, they make sure they're meeting the requirements that are available for that team. If they're not, they can even miss off when I coached the chart. Like there was times that kids, we were trying to give them a position that they didn't earn. But it's like, we wanted more than they did. So guess what? We shift the team. You make those changes. So if the kid doesn't want to be a part of that program or doesn't respect the coach or the program, then it's on that kid. It's not the program's fault, it's not social's problem, it is the student's fault, okay? And I can tell you from the other end of it, these kids that, you know, that are on social week after week, but they can get off of it, go to prom, then you know it's possible. You know, and then one boy for homecoming, there was an issue, he wanted to be a part of the homecoming celebration. So he was sort of afraid of his girlfriend on one part of it, but he made sure, and that was the top of the building, from security to, everybody talked about like, oh my goodness, he's not on social this week. You know why? Because he wanted to go to homecoming. So it's all about that passion and want to do it. But it's definitely not a punishment. It's just something we all will be a part of at some point in life, and you just know it's not the time that somebody else is relying on you. From a date to your outfits that the parents bought, to a wrestling match or a football game, whatever. But kids actually, like there have probably been 15 kids that I wanted to start problems and haven't come in to talk and say, that's actually no different than having a job. You know what's expected of you. You know that, you know, you might be late to work one day, but it's okay. Because the next time you're gonna not deliver, you'll be fired. Okay, so is it okay if I pass out these letters?
Please.
All right, any questions? So there are some teachers that wrote how they support the program and how it has benefited the high
Are they
school
all
over the
high
last.
school teachers?
Yes,
Do we have social probation in the middle school?
Yes.
Do we,
To a
how many
degree.
kids?
No.
Like, this whole thing is blowing up at the high school, rightfully so, but I'm not hearing anything at the middle
This is
school.
the middle school doesn't really follow it as tight.
Here, can I speak on it?
Yeah, we don't have it to the same degree because we don't have homecoming and things of that nature. We follow it athletically, but we don't have the other degree.
How many, just rough guess, how many kids in the middle school were affected by this, and missed sports because of social probation?
This year, a couple.
Okay.
I would say under 10.
100?
Under 10.
Under 10.
Sorry, under 10.
You know, not to belabor this, but I do want to tell a small little quick story. I had a girl on my basketball team, she's relatively new to the school, very, very talented young lady. That was on social suspension for foul confess. Had no idea what was going on, had no idea what it was. Her mother read me the riot act, called me every name, called me names I never knew existed. The athletic office inadvertently told her she could play because Miss Stout was out of town. And the mom called me, said the athletic office told her she could play. It was not Mr. Barrett, okay, but it was a mistake. She was on social, it was just a mistake. And I told the mom, you're so focused on this technicality and the fact that the athletic office inadvertently told you that you could play, and we're not focused on the fact that your child is not meeting the standards to participate in athletics. So can we refocus? Read me the riot act, called me every name of the book. I had to hang up. On Monday, she went to school, met with all the teachers, called me and said, my daughter needs to get her act together. She will never be on social suspension again. She made it the whole season, not on social, and her and her mother bought me a gift. It was the only gift I got from every player because it works.
It does.
Works.
Let me ask, and do whoever wants to address it, the PIA standards of eligibility, you do not think those standards are enough for our Brownsville athletes?
I was just gonna say, you're gonna hold it to just athletes.
Well, the PIA standards only, it sanctions athletes. and
Right,
it's
so I
only
understand
club
that.
athletes. So I just want to talk about athletes right now. So is
No,
that
it's not.
standard not high enough for Brownsville athletes?
No.
The standards,
I
and
actually
why
referenced
not?
that in
And
my-
I'm asking you because I've never
Yeah.
taught here.
So
you tell me.
we were placed on the ATSI and everything because PIAA, and even when Mr. Gates was principal, I don't know if I want to say that, there was always an issue with attendance. From late early dismissals, he started them, making them stay after school when they got time before they could go to anything. So when homecoming and prom were coming up, there would be kids camped out for 2 and 3 hours. They were paying for security overtime to babysit them to make up their time. So this has always been an issue, but that didn't fix the problem. The PIAA handbook didn't fix the problem because we've always followed that. So that's why
Is
the
it fixed?
social.
Is the problem fixed?
This fixes the problem. And it's only those few kids, but again, it's like a speeding ticket. Sometimes you're gonna mess up and it's okay. You know, really, it only impacts, you think about it, of the hundreds of kids in that building, how many complaints do you guys actually hear?
Well, and not only that, if those couple of kids are the ones that are being impacted, I'm sorry. Follow the rules. Come to school, turn your work in, behave, respect your program, respect your coach, respect yourself, and respect your team. Because as an athlete, your behavior impacts your whole team. Yeah, you might have another pitcher that you can put in play, but they might not be as good. But then on the other hand, for, let's just say youth school, we don't have another league. If they end up on social suspension, we're done.
Do these students who end up on social, we're not gonna talk about just athletes right now, who end up on social suspension, is there ample time to get off? Do they know by, say, Tuesday or Wednesday, if you are not at this place by Friday, you will not be able to play next week, you will not be able to go to the dance, you will not, or are they finding out Monday morning or Friday night that they cannot play a
Well-
Saturday game or the following week? Is there
So-
time to?
As a teacher, like I call them up and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't check their other grades, but I will call them up and be like, I know you're on this team.
Yeah.
Do you see what your grade is? You didn't turn in X, Y, and Z. Grade checks are like 12 o'clock on Friday.
And that's
What do you
per
do?
PIAA. That is in our rules.
Yeah,
That's
that's
when,
when
so
grade
they
checks.
cannot know before that.
So
because
I'm
it's-
just, when I
yeah.
was principaling, we would call the athletes in and we would have a meeting with
Mhm.
those who were not going to be eligible.
Now, did
They
you have a
didn't-
student management system then?
Yes.
Where they can constantly check and the
Oh,
parents
yeah,
can
oh,
constantly
yeah, but we
check?
still call them in.
Right.
So we would
Yeah.
sit down with the AD and we would meet with those students and say,
Mhm.
listen, if you are not here by Friday, you will not play in Friday night's game. You will not play it, whatever. So they had a little bit of time, not a lot, but maybe 48 hours to pull it together if they needed to. Do these students have that, or is it like, no, you self-regulate, you look at the
I
student
mean, it's week
management
by
system,
week, so I
you
mean, you
behave
would
like
know
an
if you were
adult.
filming the last week.
You wanna play.
You'd probably be filming if you're still doing, that you're not doing your assignments. And then, of course, I know I speak, Casper, do you tell your kids, like, when they need to get their act together? Like, I know that I do, she does, I mean, I can't speak for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I did as a teacher too, I
Right.
think we all do.
And
We-
don't
we-
say that.
There are
Right.
children, yeah, I never called them students.
As a
I called them
parent,
my
I was
students.
gonna say,
As a
as a
Yeah.
parent, my one daughter ended up on social, she corrected it, never did it again.
Yeah.
Scout sends out a warning email that says, this is a social suspension warning.
But
You
my
know
question
you're
is there
gonna
time to get off it before it happens?
So,
Or
is
no?
it
It's
time?
like- It's just you would self-regulate is what it is.
There is, but here's
In
the
my
other
opinion.
issue too. 99% of the time, the student is not doing the work in the class, and you can attest to this, the teachers in here. The student is choosing not to do the work in the classroom, so it's not an assignment that they just chose to not do today. It could be 3 days of assignments, so then they chase them around on a Friday morning. Mr. Gasser, can you put this in? Mr. Gasser, can you put this in? Well, Mr. Gasser had his prep at first period, and it's in grade
And your
checks.
son is late. Yeah, I understand that.
So, yeah, 99% of the time, it's the student not doing what they need to do in the classroom. And I can tell you, and I didn't even know anybody was coming to speak this evening, but I will tell you that, and that is the honest to God's truth, and I can tell you this right here, right now. 1 month, we have changed the rules. 1 month, there's more entitlement over there, failures have gone up, attendance has gone down, discipline has gone up. And it's the
Give me
student
that.
athletes with the
Send it to
discipline.
me.
Yeah,
So,
I'd like to see
I'm
that.
just letting you know.
So you three principals
Okay.
agree that this is not what we want to do.
That's what
I
you
mean, I'm gonna go back to where it was. I'm trying to understand what we want to do. You,
I'm on a different island, being at the elementary. I have ideas for a version of social.
You and Mr.
studies.
Clement.
I think whatever it is, it should be equal, like she said.
well, that's what I'm thinking. I just don't want to make sure I'm on the right track.
So can I just want to add just a couple of things, and, I agree that it needs to be equal, so I wrote a couple of notes down. Equity is the first thing, right? I totally agree with that. So yes, if we need to revisit that or look at that. I also, me personally, I believe that current policy, as it stood, in my mind, was too punitive. I feel like we need to add a restorative piece to that. I agree with you. Actions, you need to be responsible for your actions, but that is not the only piece to this. So I want us to look at that and come at it from more of a restorative piece. That was my big issue with that policy as it was. We could use elements of it or things like that, in my opinion. I just wanted to see that. The next thing, if we're gonna have that, or consider a policy like that, where it, in my mind, punitive and kind of strict, the enforcement of that policy needs to be crystal clear. And it needs to be very, not very, it needs to be consistent. The data that you're speaking of, I would love to see that, because that would change a lot, I think. So those are just a couple of points that I
I concur with you.
Let's
made.
look.
What, I'm sorry, Deb, Mr. Dorsey?
I totally agree with you. One of my biggest concerns, when we first started talking about this, was the time frame. Would the student actually have the opportunity to fix this? As a parent, I think I would sit my child down and let them know, okay, this is what's expected of you. And hold my child accountable to that. I wouldn't look for, I hate to call it a loophole or whatever, or for an easy way out of the situation, because I feel if you are an athlete or somebody that is in a certain activity, they kind of need held to a little bit of a higher standard. But if they get into that situation, they need to be able to work their way out of it within a proper time frame.
Thank you. So it sounds like, we need to, the board, what I'm hearing is the board wants to at least look at this again. And I think, and I don't know about we would need to add it to the agenda and things like that, but I think we can certainly have that discussion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to look at that, because I know even when I was up there, this isn't the grades book. This is the attendance book.
Can you be a little bit louder? I'm sorry, I can't
Yeah,
hear.
maybe,
I don't have my,
I'm sorry.
nor a good voice like yours.
had a kid who would come in, he said, my mom didn't come home last night. She was drunk or high, and I had to get my two little brother and sister off to elementary, then I came in afterwards. These are things you gotta look at. There are different things we have to look at because there's different conditions than there are a Fox Chapel or another.
Thank you,
And I
Mr.
think there are
Davis.
things we have to look at.
That-
And it's not great, this was a great thing, this was a, and this was constantly we had to do that, and we all understood that, so we gave a little bit of a break for that.
I concur with Director
Yes.
Gates. I think that we are having the discussion now, and we don't need to go in executive session because we'd be violating the Sunshine Act. So we're actually discussing it now.
Mhm.
But I think if the support is there to retake that vote, we can add it to the agenda for Thursday and retake that
Well,
vote.
I-
Because
cer-
I don't think, Mr. Malley, that we should be waiting another 30 days.
Well, I certainly think that I would like to see some of that data that was mentioned.
I understand.
I agree, and that's another point that I wanted to make, Mr. Gates, is that I believe a lot of our students are already coming from extremely disadvantaged situations. And again, and this could be the counselor in me, but I don't see things black and white. I live in a world of gray. And to me, when I see a very punitive policy, again, just my opinion, it causes me some pause. So I would like to certainly revisit it, look at it, because I think the equity piece is extremely important. So we do need to remedy that if that is truly the issue and a major issue. So I think, Mr. Brashear, maybe getting some data together and to see where we are with this would be my opinion.
Delineating that data with the athlete subgroup as well, so that I can see that it is in fact the athletes who are taking advantage of this right now. I would like to see that reflected in that data.
Our scores and everything, and we have difficulties with certain subgroups throughout the district. And I always go back to our district dealing with 33% IEP students. So that's something we should also be taking, in account when we're discussing all this.
And after thinking it, athletically minded as I am in 30 years, I don't believe athletes should have an advantage over anything.
No, I agree with that.
And I think that's the way
I
it has to
was
go.
under the assumption that it was kind of with everybody, but.
Yeah,
And there are circumstances that, it's up to the administration to have to make some decisions, but I don't think an athlete should have an advantage.
And Mr. Dorsey said it, I think, and it's unfair, but I think a lot of times they're held to a higher standard as a student athlete, right?
Right, true.
So-
I mean, and what we have, I saw it, Kelly sees it, and not all of you up here see that. Some of you coaches do see it, some of you more fathers see it. And it's a different situation here for us and for our kids.
Mhm.
And I don't want to punish them for trying to help out their families, or trying to help. I'm not talking about the grades wise, I think grades, you should have it no matter what. But
No one sees this more than the teachers and the administrators see this happening. And in the 30 days, advantages have been taken by certain students. And that's,
I don't see who.
Yeah.
How many
I'm
athletes
hearing
do we
it, but
have
I-
that are out right now? I don't know how many athletes we have.
well, whatever school's in the season right now, it seems to be, I don't have enough information
What we have.
to say anymore, other than
Because most of what,
Everybody should go to the same
stuff,
level.
basketball, wrestling, what else, and we're starting up now with softball, baseball.
So,
Track.
I wanted to, Mr. Dorsey, this is something that falls under your committee, your chairmanship. Do you have a suggestion as far as, do you want to see some of that data? How would you like to proceed? Have you thought of that, maybe in time?
Well, yeah, my thought is how quick can we get that data? And if we can get it between now and Thursday, could we possibly, I don't know whether to say, at the beginning of the meeting, have that discussion about this, and, you know, temporarily put something on the agenda now, you know, word it in a certain way that we can address that Thursday, or is that too early?
It depends.
Can you approve
It
Thursday,
depends.
right?
It depends for me.
Yeah,
Worst case scenario, if it would not be ready, there's certainly could have a Zoom meeting. I mean, no one likes that, but, you know, if it's not ready for Thursday, but I don't see why we couldn't have something to vote on to make it.
I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I don't wanna wait another month. We're already starting to see things, I don't wanna wait another month.
I'll get you the data.
Yeah.
I think we could put,
And if that's what's happening, then there is no point waiting next month.
There is no point there.
how about Mr. Dorsey, what if you and I kind of come up with a language and then we can run it by Dr. Martin for the agenda for Thursday? Oh, man, I thought you were, never mind, I'll save that joke for later.
Bob is totally okay.
Yeah.
I don't wanna start anything, Mr. Dorsey, but Mr. Bashir said you're totally okay.
Yeah. I have another joke. Mrs. Gould, did you have something?
Yeah, the only problem I have with the students is the way PIAA is written, all schools follow this, is Friday is the deadline. So I don't know how they're going to recover, so if they don't turn in their assignment, I have to update my grades Friday morning, and I put in a grade, now they're failing, well, they weren't warned on Wednesday. But they knew they didn't turn that assignment, because I told them, their mom sees it, whoever sees it online, the kid sees it,
Yeah.
so they know they let their team down or whatever.
So-
So it's no
yeah.
surprise, because we're very, you know, we all communicate with our
Two,
students
if they're
and
failing
parents.
you, it's not just you, it would be, it's multiple.
But yeah, I'm just saying that like the pre-notice is never going to be really possible.
And see,
And then the attendance, they.
And I'm just thinking out
Yeah,
loud,
that's
like I'm
what we're
talking through it
talking,
with you, because
yeah.
again, I never talk here, so I don't know what you're facing in the classroom. But I'm looking at it from the lens of, say, Wednesday, with like a preliminary kind of report come out, here's what we're looking at. And then those kids can be pulled, and just say, listen, I mean, you're still going to have those outlier students who between maybe Wednesday, they were not, you know, they were not flagged,
Yeah.
but they're going to be flagged by Friday, but
And
is
then
your
it's-
predominant group is
Yeah.
probably already flagged, and that's not going to change between Wednesday and Friday, is my guess. And then I'm so disheartened to hear that in 1 month, this is what has happened, because this would be your athletes that we're talking about, but this is
They're
only,
talking about.
and this
Like
is the
we do.
PIAA standards
Yeah.
of eligibility for them to show up and play their sport. They are not getting to do any extracurriculars, they are not getting to spectate a sport, they are not getting to go to a dance, all the social probation, you know, procedures are still in place for them otherwise. This is just, you may show up and play, and basketball, you may show up and, you know, whatever the sport is that's in season at that time. But if this data is reflecting that, then you have our athletes, those are our athletes.
and I can tell you, going back to Mr. Gates's comment, kids do email me. You wouldn't believe the kids, and I will say, and I'll use the boys' basketball coach for an example. His boys email me constantly. Can you tell me if I'm okay? Can you check my attendance for me? I was here this day, can you tell me if there's a mistake? I just had a boy last week, there was a game last Monday, and he emailed me and he said, hey, I was in school on November 29th, I promise you I was, can you just double check? And so I emailed the attendance clerk, he said what happened was the student didn't sign in when he came in from CTI, so he did mark him absent. But the student was in fact at CTI, and he was in fact not present in his classes. So they do reach out, and if there is something that they're going on with their home life, I mean, I take every kid into consideration, I really truly do. And they reach out to me on their own. I mean, they don't have any problem emailing me, hey, can you check my attendance? Can you tell me what I was failing? Can you tell me what teacher I need to talk to?
Would you say the majority are comfortable reaching out?
100, I would say 100%,
I would
absolutely.
they probably are, but you're saying that there's a big chaos that came over there. There's only, I think, 3 sports on there right now. It's basketball, girls, boys, and
It's not
everything.
just sport.
It spreads.
It's
the
the
fact
fact
that the other clubs and organizations know that it's only athletes who got the special treatment.
So it's
So
a
it's a
big, it's a big, I have one student in
See, I'm
mind.
misunderstanding then what she
And
said.
I don't know if special
Well, I
treatment
thought
is
she
the
said-
right.
That's the way
vernacular.
the kids are talking about. So it's
Yeah.
positive.
It is special treatment.
Okay, but from what I misunderstood what she said, then, because from what I got from what Kelly said, was that it was this group that was causing that and doing that. But no, it isn't, it's the other kids, because of,
Well, it's,
see, I don't understand that.
it just, you wouldn't believe it over there. You wouldn't believe the way they talk. I don't have to come to, I don't need an excuse anymore. I can come to school, 5 minutes late.
So the data you'll provide us will be not just for athletes, but for everyone.
Cool.
Like,
Yeah,
where
but I
your
mean, I can
discipline's
try to
gone
break
and
it
all
up.
that.
See, I like to see the athletes too.
And I can tell you,
Yes.
there is one group of athletes that marches around that they're entitled. One group.
I've heard the
And
same thing. and I'm-
it's actually, it really is.
Who they are.
It's because, and I'll be quite honest, it's because the coach doesn't support it. So if the coach is telling you all the time, your principal's after you, you don't know how many boys will come down and tell me, my coach said you put me on social probation. My coach said you made me ineligible. You wouldn't believe it. I'm like, "Look, I didn't make you ineligible. You didn't do your work. That's why you're
So in a
ineligible."
sense, Mrs. Stout,
So-
what I'm getting at is the other students, whatever they're involved in, they see that.
Oh, yeah, they
Okay,
talk.
so
They
they're
talk.
saying, well, if that athletic guy
Right.
can do it, then I'm gonna
Then
do it,
I
and I
can.
can't blame them. I
Well,
really
it's not
can't.
that I can do it too, it's I'm held to a different standard.
Right, so
Yeah.
It's why we have to higher standards than the athletes.
Okay, we're gonna take one more comment and then we're gonna kind of wrap it up if the board has any more comments on this and then we're gonna move on, okay?
I did get told by a number of students when this came out, just from, the band and theater side of the world,
I don't know.
that if the
Yeah, I'm sorry, what,
That's
what's your name again?
McFerrin. Yeah, sorry. I'm the band director, you're voting on that later, so take that as you will. But they're concerned that I got told, so wait, if I'm on the basketball team and I'm failing 2 classes, I can play in my game on Friday, but I can't play in the concert on Saturday. That I worked 18 weeks rehearsing. So now I have students saying that they want to quit band because, well, they might as well just go to a sport because their grades don't matter. But I'm still gonna hold them, and even if they were to say grades don't matter for, music, like, I would still like to hold them to that standard, and they feel even if that was not the intention, which I'm sure it wasn't, and it's very clearly not, that is how the students are taking it.
Thank you, so board members, any
I just
further
wanted,
comments?
just wanted to contribute one more thing. That doesn't always reflect some of what they're sharing and some of what they're expressing, and I spend a lot of time around these kids, and I do get what they're saying. And then the other thing I just wanted to say is that the PIAA requirements for athletes is, there are many schools that don't have any policies in place at all. So they use this for their athletes because you have to, but they don't use anything for anything else. But if we have a district policy in place, it should apply to everybody. Because this is what's gonna happen. This is what's gonna happen, and it does, if we have a district policy in place, which obviously everyone knows I support and I'm in favor of, but I do think it should apply to everybody. And it's, they know, trust me, they know.
I don't think that principals and teachers should be chasing after athletes who know that they have to get us to that standard. And if it keeps going like this and we let this go, is what you're gonna have. Teachers are there to teach, not to chase athletes and say you need to bring your grade. Well, that's what they do to everybody, and that's good.
Your point is spot on, Mr. Chair, because this doesn't happen out of nowhere. Like you're cruising along,
Exactly.
life is good, and fine.
Exactly.
Boom, slam, I'm not eligible.
Exactly.
There are signs. There are signs all along. And I would argue that the kids that are having some of these issues, they get them back. They're like, well, they're
We're gonna turn a good
They're
kid
coming back
back.
above water, they're going back down again. And that's,
I'm gonna turn
I
the kids in a
understand
good
what
direction,
you're
we're gonna turn
talking
them
about, but
bad,
there are
because we're gonna
signs
see what the
along the way.
athletes are doing.
and you gotta hold to the standards.
That is a part of the restorative practice, that you see those signs and that you have things in place. Yes, I think this is a great discussion. This is a complicated issue. And again, just my comment on it, is that it's not always so black and white, cut and dry. That's just my take on it.
I think as a board director, you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
You have to look at every number and make sure we didn't leave anything out, the solicitor has to look at it.
But I do understand policy, and you're right, if we have a policy, it definitely needs to be equitable.
This would be a Scout's handbook.
Exactly,
The
right.
policy as much as a procedural, but I feel like, I just have to mention this right now, the tone of this conversation, how much I appreciate it. This is probably the best conversation we've had since I've arrived in Brownsville, just that we are all very cool and level-headed, and we're talking about what's best for our kids. And that's all that matters, and that's what every one of us has been hired to do and elected to do. We work for kids. So it's what's best for our students. And if what's best for our students is an accountability piece, I can get behind that. I just want to make sure that it is equitable. I want to make sure that we are taking into consideration our demographics. It's not Brownsville, it's countywide. You know, we have a unique county here where we need to take a long, hard look at our children and what they face and make sure that we are in fact offering those supports. Those supports come from the arts. They come from athletics. You have kids that are not academically minded, but they're stellar athletes, and then you can pull the athletics and the academics in, and they're all interconnected. I don't want to disconnect there. I also don't want just to use this word, an entitled group of students running around either. That's not what we're cultivating. If you have coaches disrespecting you, I would be happy to bring them to the table. I would be more than happy. They can have my time for that. The disrespect has to stop here, from the top down and bottom up. There's no place for it. I don't talk to parents that way. I don't want parents talking to me that way. I don't want coaches addressing you in any way but the right way. And I don't want anyone undermined through students, because you're using our children at that point. You're using them as weapons against us. And this is getting messy. It really is getting messy, and it's disheartening. There are large issues, and there are big, bold, amazing things that are happening right now in Brownsville. And there are topics like this that are just consuming us right now.
Excellent, I mean, that was very well said.
Thank you for this.
No,
But
that,
I mean it, and thank you for the letters, Mrs. Bullock,
It
and
is
all
an
of
important topic.
it really is.
Because it affects those.
And what I'd like to see, no matter what we decide on a policy moving forward, and this was a point I think Mrs. Goulage was trying to bring up, is the policy is this, but then there are procedures. So I would love to, whatever we decide on as a policy, continue this type of conversation so that we have a good procedure in place. So whatever the policy is, that we can be clear and consistent and concise across the board. So I would like to see that, if Mr. Dorsey's okay with it, since this is his committee.
When we get this information, I would like to see the policy that is in place right now also forwarded to us, so we can look at this language and compare the data to the policy, and then maybe, figure out exactly the way we want to do this. Also, I'm hearing that is it coaches are disrespecting administrators? Because if we have that in our district, we don't need those people as coaches.
Good point.
We want to have an education committee meeting, and I'll make sure that I get that information out. I think that is a great space for us to sit down and, talk through this too as well. I mean, we can get something tentatively on the agenda for Thursday, but I think if we want to have further discourse on it and talk, a casual setting like that, that's not a formal board meeting, is really the place to have that conversation, and then we can take it from there. I think we're all a lot more relaxed, and not that this wasn't, again, thank you for the tone, and thank you for the discussion tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
We're gonna hit the agenda?
I think so. I need a break, can I jump in?
I just wanted to ask a question about when you guys collect the data, if this is just from a parent perspective. I would just, on a curious side, how much of it is from attendance that they're on social suspension versus academics. Like, I'm not trying to sound funny, but like, I really wanna see what the difference is, like, that,
You need to delineate
I
between the
agree.
two, sure, yeah.
because a lot of like the attendance issues, I know with the online students, there was an IT issue, so like a lot of those students were still suffering social suspension, and that's why I asked, maybe if we look at the data, not only just from that aspect, it'll help break down even more, like, because like you said, we do have a lot of students in our area that have, where they're responsible at a young age, like, let's face it, they're doing things that, you know, most kids wouldn't have to do. So, like, we have to look at these things, but we need that data to be collected on a fairness across the board. Is it attendance, or is it educational, or where's the breakdown at? So we have all
We're in an
appropriate
attendance
data.
crisis, and the state is holding us to a standard
Oh, I
of
know.
excellence that we are chasing, we just chase ourselves in circles with the state. That's all it boils down to. The mandates come down, we try, and a lot of it's unattainable, a lot of it is not geared toward our county, toward our children, and these are the things we're putting in place to try to make sure that we're hitting those targets, and our children they're unique, you know, they're unique, but the state doesn't want to hear that.
Well, no, and that's one of the biggest issues with the state, is that they don't want to hear what happens in the lower demographic of counties.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for a really good discussion, and certainly more to come on that topic. Okay, I think, yes,
Are we going into executive session?
I didn't have a plan for that.
Okay, good. I wanted to be here for public comment. I got a big demo in the morning.
Okay.
I think there will be a motion for the
Like the
executive
guy who
session.
got
I have,
public, that's why.
I have a personnel meeting. But
Thanks, Ross.
you're not gonna be here anymore.
So we'll move right into superintendent remarks.
I'm gonna hold mine for the Thursday meeting.
Very good.
And that's-
Got it. So on Thursday, we will discuss approving the agenda and related materials for incorporation into the minutes. Any questions or comments? We did have some.
Yes, we'll have that corrected.
Change it, I'll send it out to you tomorrow.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then
That's
it'll be
good.
there.
Good catch on that, thank you. And then we will also then approve those minutes. Ms. Columbia,
Yeah, we just, you know,
any questions or comments?
yeah, for the, approval of general fund, capital fund, title 1, for 2, cafeteria fund, treasurer, financial reports.
Anything there?
We did make that last page, but you
Colby, did you hear that?
The last meeting for the 10.
Okay. So no questions on 6 or 7 or further discussion. We'll move on then to Mr. Dorsey. I don't know if you have
What
any.
about bills for payment?
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
bills for payment.
I do have a question.
Sure.
On page 1, on page 1 from the general fund. Now, you're gonna understand why
You're setting it up, aren't
You're
you?
gonna understand why I have this question, but it just has to go that way. So page 1 from the general fund, this item 0390 for Century Sports. It has athletics, general supplies, high school girls basketball. Do we know what that is?
Did you order it?
No, that's why I don't know if it's something that generic in February.
No, I said, what's the question? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't,
What page do you want that?
I want page 1 from the general fund.
Page 1 says treasurer's report.
Well, no, it's a page, another page 1.
Is it red? The red one?
No. Oh, it's page 9, I'm sorry, guys, it's page 9. It's page 1 at the top, it's page 9 at the bottom.
Okay, so I don't know exactly, but Century met backlog of invoices for us.
Okay.
We just got some
Oh,
last week, so.
I mean, every year we
So
order,
that
we order a
way we
few
can-
basketballs, and,
Yeah.
but why it doesn't just say that, I don't know, but I just wanna clarify that because, you know, being a girls' basketball coach and not taking a salary, you hear all these people say all this stuff, and I just wanna clarify, I got to know what that was
Yeah,
for,
we,
because,
that's okay.
okay, great, alright, that's all I have.
Mr. Mayor, once again, you're gonna skirt through me tonight, because I left all my stuff at home. So, I don't have a lot of questions, but I'll call you during the day, nothing major. But one thing, did we receive a payment from the intermediate unit for $1,000 rent? Is that, I didn't see it, is it on that?
It's
agenda?
in the revenue, we don't show the revenue. so-
Okay, but it is there.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Good, yeah, good catch. Mr. Dorsey, I'm not sure if you, anything else on bills for payment or number 7, A through I? Okay. Mr. Dorsey, I'm not sure if you have the agenda in front of you. If not, I can take, oh, okay, very good.
Yeah, I'm good. Under education, what we have on here right now is just to discuss approving the 26-27 district-wide school calendar. And then we'll probably have another motion on there regarding our previous discussion. Is probably item B.
Yes. And all I wanted to discuss about the calendar is, met with the county superintendents. We tried to work this calendar out with the CTI to make sure that we're all utilizing the same in-service days, things like that, so our kids are on schedule, the same schedule. I then ran it through the union, so they've already looked at it, cross-referenced it with the contract, made sure that it looked good. Everyone's, in agreement with the calendar. The only thing I wanted to bring up that we did last year, but don't have on this year's calendar, is we did have possible snow makeup days. I know with remote learning, it's not something we necessarily need to have on the calendar, but is that something we want to still entertain for next school year? Just having that there in the event that we would need to fully cancel and add a makeup day.
Well, I think we should, because
Okay.
as an IT person, you could have a type of weather event that
Look what we just went through.
right, that takes down, takes down the internet, and, you may have no choice but to
Okay.
post them.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what the other districts are looking at, are they looking at the same thing?
They are, and one of the things that I want to say about Brownsville, we are the only district with synchronous remote learning. So a lot of the other districts have them in place because they get panicky on these days off that it's loss of education, where we really don't suffer that. Our kids are, learning in real time with educators in front of them. The feedback that I've received has been great. There are one-to-one devices, our elementary students have devices at home, so they're all learning in real time. It's not packets, which is what other districts are doing. So the remote piece, the remote piece is exceptional here. Other districts, again, in the county just don't have that. But having those embedded just after what we went through this year, which while we had them embedded this year, that incident happened after our snow makeup days. Anyhow, we're over. The only one we could have made up was this past Monday. I kind of like just having them in place for a rainy day in case something crazy would happen. I just wanted the board's thoughts on it, and I wanted to give those kudos to our educators who are teaching in real time with our kids, because no one else is doing that.
And our girls basketball players are logging on during all this bad weather.
Yeah, a lot of the students are. The parent feedback I've gotten has been incredible. They're like, I'm listening to my child in the other room, and I hear the teacher talking, and they're engaging and back and forth. So it's happening. The principals are doing walkthroughs. They're offering feedback. They're in and out of those classrooms. Learning is happening on those days. So I feel really comfortable with the remote learning piece.
One thing I was concerned about with tech, our kids probably have to go a little bit later there. Because if they're gonna have a paper remote, and we're canceled, actually theirs is being made up, ours is.
Yeah, it gets a little sticky for
I
Miss
mean, that's how it is.
That's a good point,
I had the same
Rick,
thing when I was here.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. The makeup days, I will align them with theirs, the ones that they have, that if we all called, maybe as a county, that those would be the makeup days. But with regard to like our CTI students, if they have to be held back here in the district, well, then they would have to be. Is that what you mean? Like if they,
What we used to do at the end, we used to go up to the tech
Yeah.
and make up the days after.
oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Because they
Yeah,
have
I
to put
gotcha.
in so many hours to get
Okay.
their certificates and whatnot.
Right.
We used to have to do that, that was
Yeah,
back in the day.
I
when we
gotcha.
didn't have to
Okay,
go.
I misunderstood. Yes. Okay. All right, I'll correct that for Thursday.
What about that?
further discussion or comments under education?
I have two items,
One
Mr.
thing about
President.
Red Tech, I'm sorry, I didn't hear exactly what you said because it's hard to hear you, but I do work with Mr. White to make up their time. So sometimes during like if we have a 2-hour delay, they'll stay a little bit
Well,
longer.
my question was, if we go and have cancellations and the rest of the districts have their remote by paper, our kids are gonna miss some days up there, so they're gonna have to go later on after school so they can get their hours in for their certificates. And nothing about any other time, just,
Yeah, I didn't know if it was
because
delayed
we were
or,
going to, if we didn't have any remote days at all,
right,
and they did, that would cause a problem.
yeah.
Wouldn't you be able to maybe utilize the in-service days for the district and send our students
Possibly.
to, like, I'm just asking if our in-service
Depends on what
days,
they're doing up there that day too, yes.
because technically that's still a day for us, you have
Yeah.
administration here, so you could shift the kids on an in-service day if that were,
Typically, we're all on in service at the same time.
Okay, see, I didn't know how that
Try to align those calendars, but that's a great idea if it could work out, yeah. Thank you.
Mr. Dorsey, did you have something you said? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Bashir, I'm sorry.
Actually, I have three items. One, I'm not sure if it would be an executive session. Question, do our administrators all carry two-way radios? At all times?
They have, I went down with all.
So we wouldn't have to look for someone if there was an emergency. Do our secretaries have them? Do our principals have two-way radios on them at all times? Is that our policy? Or is it, we just?
I don't think there's a policy in place for it, but that's procedure,
It
that's
used to be
protocol.
at one time.
You need to be, yeah, you need to be
So in
accessible.
case of emergency, we're
Right,
not
right.
going to track the principal down
Right.
because he or she doesn't have.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that you can take care of.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is, I don't know, maybe I'm a little off kilter here with the play practice. It seems that the kids are putting in a lot of hours, that they're leaving, they're getting out of school at 2 o'clock, and some of them are here till 8:30, 9 o'clock, and they're not eating. I mean, I don't know how the play is working. How many hours? It just seems like a lot of hours.
That would have been the person asked.
I mean, I can speak to that, this is my first year not doing it. I can tell you, it's pretty standard. Usually, if you're doing a show, we do start them a little earlier. Here in Brownsville, the other districts I've been a part of, you usually have your auditions like right before Christmas break, and you start in January, but I know even back when I was in high school theaters, we got out of school at 3, and I think my parents were picking me up at 9:30 from the parking lot each night, because it's a lot.
it is.
A lot
It
of
is, and you
work.
know, these kids are hungry, you know, and
They used
they're
They don't-
going hour after hour after hour after hour.
Sure, I mean,
I'm
they
not
get a
saying,
dinner break.
I'm not trying to put a damper on it, all I'm saying is there any kind of established, elementary does this, middle school?
Yes,
practice?
yes, elementary's only so many, elementary only goes an hour, I can attest to this, I'm sorry, I can help because I'm a parent that deals with this. Elementary students are there one day for an hour. What they did with our elementary students also this year, which was amazing even for the shows, there's only so many that have been doing these shows for a long time that are doing all 4 shows, and they broke it up to where there's 2 groups that are doing 2 shows. So the elementary's only there from 4 to 5:30, and I think we go Thursday. So they're not there like an astronomical time. They have lunch breaks at 5:30, and I know that some of the parents, and I believe the
Yeah.
musical parents actually provide like snacks and stuff for these kids. Because they do understand, like they really do take care of these kids like in a good manner.
Is that snacks for all the children?
Yes, like I'm pretty sure that they do, because
providing snacks.
Yeah, the
I was gonna say, I'm pretty
district
sure that you guys are on it with
So
that.
the district provides snacks immediately after school, which is usually like juice boxes, things like that, and then there's always a dinner time. Also, certain kids are called at certain times, at least usually, so they're able to be fully utilized while they're there, and then, especially during tech week, which is when all kids are there for it's what we call the week before the show, when they're doing runs, everything's coming together. I know those theater boosters and parent lines are phenomenal, that they usually provide snacks, dinner, bottles of water, and it's all out of their pockets and their fundraising. It's amazing.
Okay. Did you have another?
There's the woman for the musical stuff.
sorry, I didn't know that was gonna be brought up.
Sorry, I was trying to
into my
help you.
car and someone texted me.
Well, I think we have an answer, but Mr. Bashir, did you have a follow-up? with
She would be the one to
No,
actually
that
answer.
just kind of answered my question, what I have with that. I was just talking to some older kids, and I know they can get burned out, because it's a lot of work, and it's a great play, they're great plays. That answered my question, the play practice. The other question, and I don't know if I'm not gonna mention names, but we sent Friday about a student from Vo-Tech that brought in a knife.
That should be executive session.
Yeah, that'll,
Okay, then we'll save it for that. Let me see, I think that's all I have, okay.
Oh,
No,
and
that's it.
just to build off of the musical stuff, most of you all know that I am a teacher in another district. We have Saturday practices that run 9 to 10 hours. So it's not just, so it's not just here, that's
Well,
everywhere.
and the biggest reason why they're long early this year is because we had a week of virtual days. We had a week of no school. We couldn't bring the kids in to rehearse on those days.
I should have took that in the fact that one of the students I drive every day says, I'm not going.
Yeah, I mean, normally, I think it was Marissa said tech week, and she's right. Normally, they're not late
So
evenings
that's how I'm bringing
until
it
then.
up, driving the kids in, I'm not going home today. Again. I didn't think that all the days off.
Right.
Probably why you built.
And they are. They're given an hour of a dinner break. The school provides snacks.
Okay, that's very good.
Parent group does what we can.
Very good.
Mr. Gates was my principal when I was in musical, and therapy nights were 9 o'clock. We were still.
I think at one time we didn't get out of the school until like 10 o'clock, but like Beauty and the Beast was one of our biggest productions. I'm actually wearing a shirt, I was a part of it. Like, we were here with set building and everything, like the backstage, like it takes you immense amount of hours. Like, people have no idea the amount of time it takes to build these sets.
yeah, and it's such a great, it's such a great community event, and they just do a fantastic job. I too was in the musicals way back in the day.
I know.
You know that.
I do.
Anyway.
Yeah, I see both sides of it now. I get it.
Right. But thank you so much. Great discussion. Thanks, Mr. Bashir. We're going to move on to Mr. Gates with personnel. Oh, yeah, Andy, sorry, good.
All this discussion about the musical, I have what could be sort of a sensitive question, but is a district allowing someone that is possibly on Megan's list to be associated with the musical, checking people in or doing something like that? I just wanted to, alert the district if that could be possible.
I will look into that, Mr. Dorsey, thank you.
And if you want, you can Google it and you'll see everything show up.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Gates.
Okay. Discuss accepting the letter of resignation from Elizabeth Eckles, Carolina Educator, report for the SEIU contract ending January 21st. Question. B and C, I think, from what I understand, these are two great teachers. Jamie already told me about one, Lofty did, so that the superintendent discuss hiring Emma BASD as a special education teacher for the Browns Valley School District with compensation set at step 9, master's degree, in the amount of $56,780 in accordance with the BEA contract effective February 20th. And the other one is Terry Morrison as a special education teacher for the Browns Valley School District with compensation set at step 9, master's degree, in the amount of $56,780 in accordance with the BEA contract effective February 20th. Now, will they be here on the 20th?
Possibly one, correct, Danielle? Possibly one of those.
Well, we're not sure now.
One of them doesn't feel like she's going to be held. She's already let her district know that she was looking for other employment.
Okay.
So she should be able to start soon.
Okay.
It's not definite.
So we're just in the hands of how long their hold is.
Okay.
Our districts that they're at.
And again, something that Mr. Dorsey brought up earlier with the percentage of, our students in that population. This, I gotta be honest, is fantastic news that we have two really good candidates. I'm really, exactly, I'm very excited, so I'm really hoping that this happens. Danielle, work your magic, okay?
Stopping, rank the two teachers dropping right into our lap, which is amazing.
Is one taking a huge pay cut?
It really is amazing.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
Since we, really liked these two candidates and we wanted to, hire them, I would like to see, like, once we got, like, hey, they accepted, I really would have liked to see, like, a special meeting to have them, because if one of them is being held, we're already 10, 15 days, because by the time that they put their notice in. So, I would just like to see when we have two great candidates, I'd like to see it, if possible, to have a special meeting to have them hired, so we don't lose them.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
So, this is a diamond in the rough.
Oh, absolutely. No, I certainly fully support that.
That's a good point, yeah.
And again, to Mr. Brashear's earlier point, Zoom meetings aren't always, again, it's not something we want to do, but if we have an emergency like that, or we may have to do that, just so that the public knows. I mean, if we lost these candidates, I mean, that's shame on us for not acting.
So, like I said, I really think if this ever would happen again, and those of them were on board with it, and as soon as we can have that meeting, I wanna have that meeting.
I agree.
And just in general, like, we were down three social studies teachers, I'd say the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Okay, great news. Mr. Gates.
I did, discuss approving the request from Kathy Skagus, for an unpaid leave of absence, September 10th through September 28th, 2026. I did discuss approving a request from Tyler Cavender to attend the school crime prevention through the environmental design course provided by MASRO, March 16th to the 18th at the Central Pennsylvania Institute of Science and Technology in Belfont, PA, not to exceed $1,000 from the general fund. It's a worthwhile trip. F, discuss approving the request from Melissa McFadden to attend the FEMA annual conference at Kalahari Convention Center in Poconos from April 22nd to the 24th, not to exceed $12.50, paid from general fund. G, discuss hiring Jessica Bigbert as a paraeducator for the Brownsville Area School District according to the SEIU contract effective February 20th, 2026. And H, discuss accepting a letter of retirement from that Wasco custodian in accordance with the SEIU contract effective December 22nd, 2025. And that's it. I guess we'll have more details on that motion.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gates. Questions or comments under personnel? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to Ms. Columbia Finance.
Sure. Item A, discuss approving the intermediate Unit 1 general operating budget. Item B, discuss the proposed budget for the 2026-27 school year. And item C, discuss approving the request for the use of facility from Cheryl Frost Dance Studio from June 10th through June 12th, 2026.
Questions or comments under Finance Committee? Yes, Mr. Dorsey.
What's the update on that? Where are we at?
So right now, the current proposed revenue is 37 million for next year. So a little bit over $1 million more than what we have currently for this year. Shapiro's proposal showed a 6% increase from last year, mainly from the Ready to Learn Foundation grant, which was about $1.2 million. Other than that, expenses, are big hitters or salaries, fringe benefits, transportation, cyber charters, million. So that's a leftover about 3.9 million right now that will be spread out to mainly supplies or any other curriculum we may be buying. So that's what I'm currently working on right now. Andy, I do have a little budget update I can scan to you so you have it, so you have something visual to look at.
Colby, cyber charter schools, it's estimated 2.9 million.
Yes.
That's estimated, could be more?
Well, it depends on enrollment. Like last year when I did this, our total was I think I had like 170, 175, so it has jumped up. Tuition has gone down with the new law.
A lot of money.
But it's still about almost, I think we only saved like maybe 150,000 with the new increase so far in students, so. But last year this time, when I gave the budget update, the leftover was 3.1, so a little bit more to play with so far.
Very good, Colby, thanks.
Yeah, excellent work.
Yep, good work, Colby.
Any other comments or discussions under finance? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into policy. On the agenda, you'll have for Thursday discussing approving the second reading of policy 718.1, therapy dogs in schools, which is attached. Also, you'll have a discussion to approve the updates to policy 610, subject to bid and quotes. And then C, discuss approving the updates to policy 611, purchases budgeted. Questions or comments under policy? Okay. Moving into buildings and grounds, on Thursday we will discuss approving the resolution and matching funds commitment letter for Brownsville area school districts 2.667 and some change $1 million public school facility improvement grant application for the replacement of the remaining HVAC at the high school and middle school buildings. Colby, anything to add to that?
Yeah, we just need the resolution and commitment letter to submit the application. So that's what we're approving.
And in the proposed budget, matching funds, that's accounted for?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Also, under buildings and grounds on Thursday, we'll discuss purchasing an infield groomer for the softball and baseball fields. The cost is not to exceed $7,000 paid for from the general fund.
Are we qualifying as an infield groomer? Is that just a field drag?
Jared?
No, there's a lot to it. It's, I think there's, we can send you, the name of it, you can YouTube it, you can watch it, and then you can make your decision there. But it's multi-purpose, it's everything in one, and it's one piece of equipment that you could just bring different pieces of, it's electronic, you can bring one piece down, then do the other. But it's multiple, it's everything that you would need to finish the build.
Yeah, I just have one question. So is it gonna be, like, how will you transport it from one field to the other?
You know what, it's gotta be used on the back of RTV, have it on the back of RTV, so you put it just put it on a trailer.
Oh, so it's not gonna be a big deal?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
You can watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
If you want, we can send you the name and everything and you can watch.
Okay.
Send that to me, send that to Jerry, if she can send that out to the board tomorrow morning. Thanks, Mrs.
I'm looking at $7,000. This thing has to be magical to cost that much.
That's what you were saying.
Sounds like those old bedspreads, or I'm not bedspread, I mean those old mattress, you know, how they old metal mattress. Box springs, that's what.
Well, Andy, there's a YouTube video, so it's gotta be good.
You know where that's where I've been at for about the past 20 years, dragging a hunk of fence back behind my vehicle to take care of the intro.
Yeah, chain link fence, right, absolutely.
Well, before we go,
Yes.
transportation, I need to make a comment. You want me to wait for that?
Yeah, let's go through this, and then if you don't mind, we'll finish up with, transportation, is that okay?
It's only take a couple minutes.
Okay. Okay, anything else under, buildings and grounds, comments, questions? So Jerry, you'll send the link for the video to Jody, and we'll get that out, perfect, thank you. Okay, moving on to athletic committee, on Thursday, there will be, a motion to discuss hiring Nick Eady as the golf coach for the 2026-27 school year, with compensation set at $4,050 in accordance with the BEA contract. Any questions or comments under athletic committee?
This whole situation with golf coach, we should have never got to the point where we're trying to split hairs and decide between two people. This position was decided upon originally, and then somehow all these positions were allowed to be reposted, and we were interviewing multiple people for the different positions. So I don't know. I still have a little bit of difficulty with this whole process.
Right, and I think some of that was discussed at the last, our last meeting, or when maybe we were in executive session, but anyway, besides the point, I think that you're right, that, there was some questions out there with the process. Here we go with the process piece again. So, right, so no, I totally agree with that, and something to continue to discuss for sure. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey. Mr. Bashir, transportation.
Yes, I just want to read briefly the proposed elementary student parent pickups. Discuss it if need be. Number one problem, the current elementary pickup procedure has created significant traffic congestion and community disruption along Columbus Street. At present, parents begin lining up on Columbus Street well before dismissal. Vehicles block residential driveways and lane of travel. Township complaints have resulted in posted no parking enforcement. Vehicles twice, once on the street again and again on the campus. Traffic circulation impacts the elementary, middle school, and high school campus simultaneously. This situation creates safety concerns for our students and pedestrians and our employees. Community access problems for residents, increased enforcement conflicts, operational inefficiency for school staff. The objective is this: develop a controlled on-campus parent pickup system that eliminates vehicle stacking on Columbus Street, reduces traffic congestion and safety hazards, improves campus traffic flow, maintains a supervised student release process, minimizes impact to residents and township roads. The proposed parent pickup procedure, whenever we decide to adopt this, if we do, parents will pick up elementary students, will park in the current student parking lot off of Columbus Street and walk to the elementary to retrieve their children. Approximately 60 parking spaces will be available for the students. We're out with that out here. I think it's out here. Current pickup number system remains in use, eliminates vehicle on public roadways, converts pickup to a supervised walk-up release model. Staff monitor dismissal from a single controlled location. Required operational changes. Parking configuration. Student parking will move to the southwest side of the high school. Approximately 50 spaces will be available. It's a short walking distance to the sidewalk access. Staff currently uses these spaces will park behind the high school. New door access system will allow entry via the band rooms. Facilities adjustment. To create sufficient parking capacity, we will relocate the storage container, relocate recycling dumpster, summer paving and maintenance garage site to house district vehicles, frees additional parking currently occupied by maintenance vehicles. Morning traffic changes, bus and van. All vans will enter campus via Brashear and Falcon Drive. Buses will park in front of the bus lanes. Vans will drop off along curb. Students released under staff supervision. Buses will exit immediately via Reichert Avenue. Parent drop-off traffic will enter Reichert Avenue. drop off students at the designated T and exit Falcon Drive. This is the morning arrival. Student drivers will follow the bus entrance route, proceed directly to the new student parking area. Dismissal traffic flow. Student drivers exiting campus. The majority of students will exit campus before the buses pull out. Travel behind the schools. Exit at middle school elementary intersection to Falcon Drive. The last page is the anticipated benefits. Community eliminates blocked driveways and roadside problems. Safety removes children from outside loading areas. Traffic flow reduces congestion and enforcement issues. Supervision, centralized controlled student release. Efficiency, faster dismissal processing. Township relations resolves ongoing complaints. Number 6, potential challenges. Increased driver movement at dismissal. Mid-year procedure change confusion, which if we installed it now, it might create some confusion. Need for clear parent communication. Adjustment period for staff supervision duties. These challenges are considered manageable with training and advance notice. The implementation recommendation is this. The administrative team recommends implementation at the start of the next school year. This allows time for parking relocation, summer paving work, signage installation, parent communication, staff training, and traffic practice. In conclusion, this plan shifts parent pickup from a roadway to a controlled campus parking and walking up model. It improves safety, eliminates neighborhood disruption, and creates sustainable long-term traffic solution for the district. I would like to see a parent notification letter sent, a letter or how we do it on the internet, to every parent. Even if we are deciding to do this in August, send it now. That we could enact this at any time, because it's the safety of our students. I've seen so much in the last 6 months, I'm just terrified. But I think you guys, Mr. Hamilton, security, and Terry Yakubet did a fine job if we decide to implement this for discussion. Because, I mean, we all know parents are up here an hour and a half.
They are, and it's not secondary, as you know, it's
It's
the
elementary.
elementary parents. The congestion in the community is unreasonable, you have driveways blocked, community members can't get in and out of their homes.
I mean, 110 cars are lined up behind this high school to pick up for elementary. That's crazy.
Right, our officer resources
We've
are
had close
scarce.
calls with Mr. Cash, Mr. Bashir,
Right.
Mr. Bush. They just don't stop. Nobody stops at
Right.
stop signs anymore.
Right, we have a reserve officer who's coming once a week, but these are scarce resources to have to put him on an elementary pickup.
And Madam
Wow.
Superintendent and Bob, I will take on any parent who wants to come up to me and complain, because I'll take it. Because listen, they're not out there watching the children, cars driving right through the kids, going to the playground, cars going here. They don't see that. It's only 10% of the people. They're gonna say, I know you don't do it. I know you don't do it. But we have to penalize everything. It's not a penalty, it's not penalizing. It's the safety of our children and our students, even the teachers. They wanna go home at night. And there's gonna be kinks, we'll work them out. But I'd like to see this board adopt that.
And thank you, Mr. Bashir, you've been, a champion for this since I've been on board. And I think, again, I've said it about numerous different topics throughout my time on the board. We have to try something different if it's not right. If we see an issue or if it's not working, we at least have to try it.
It may not all work, but we
Right.
gotta try something with the elementary.
Right.
That's like Dr. Martin said, that's the problem.
Right.
Everybody wants to get out of it, and I know, Ms. Katie, when, what's her name, the security officer? Hannah. When Hannah's walking down the sidewalk, and they see that she's not there, they're going. They're going. They know they gotta go left, but they will not go left when she's not there. She almost has to run down there and get there and tell them to stop, because you might run into school vehicles coming out. I just watched it today, I was like, oh gosh, there they go. They're not listening, they don't see her. She ran down there. And, in security at dismissal at 220, my gosh, you think NASCAR's up here.
It's a lot. Jerry, did you
got
wanna
officers,
speak on
They
that?
need more arms, they stop, go. You tell them to stop, they go. I don't know. But I think this will help.
Did you wanna speak on it?
You know what, I think you almost have to do something because of what the township's asking us to do, okay? And I expressed this, and I just want to let everyone know this, and for everybody was on the board when that first school was built. I'm not sure, we have to do this, I understand this, but I'm not sure bringing those kids onto our campus is the best solution. I think we're gonna cause another problem, the way they drive and they speed and they come around corners.
That's what we have a citation officer.
Put out there was to take the students out of our place to put them. But I don't know what other choice we have. We sat there, we looked at this every which way that you could possibly.
We have the smallest acreage of any school in this area. We only have a small confined space to fit all our cars in here.
Without extra parking lots, asphalt somewhere, I don't know what you can do. The principals was all involved in these meetings, and I just don't know what else we could do with this.
Well, this is the plan I think we have to enact, whether it goes or not. Don't go. And I throw my hands in after this, because there's nothing else more I can say. I'm here twice a day, and I see the disrespect.
So are we, Mr. Bashir?
Yes.
Since you are the chair, yeah, and we're gonna come to your comment here in just 1 second. Are you proposing then, as chair of transportation, to add this to Thursday's agenda for adoption as a policy?
If it need be, does it need to be through the solicitor, or we need to do that? Because I would like to
That's
also
what
show
we're
that
saying.
the letter be sent out as soon as possible. Because if this is gonna create kinks, I'm ready to take the battle on.
Great point.
I think it needs to be approved as much as we need to start implementing it. And I don't know that I wanna wait until next school year. I would like to maybe look at, and I need to sit down with our team, doing it that last 9 weeks in like a layering phase. I feel like with the yonder pouches, that's how we ironed out the kinks. If we do it that last 9 weeks or so, then we will know what we need to fix over the summer so that we hit the ground running. If that's
And I'm with it, I'm just imploring the board that we try this.
Right.
If the last
And
9
there-
weeks, let's try it.
Right.
But we gotta send that letter out.
Okay.
And I'd like the board to see the letter, so in case they want to add anything away from it that you write, to say, this is what we're gonna do.
Sure.
So and if they wanna come to the meeting, I guess I'll take the shot.
And we'll have a traffic map diagram, all of those things with it, so it's very clear, we can put it on the website.
A child has an injury, a broken leg, I mean, we understand. It's just, I think security can attest to more than anybody. Too many close calls, I think we're lucky, and I'm sorry, sometimes the call from my job brings me up here.
No, it's good.
I just wanna go like this some days and drive.
That's why I continue to nominate you as chair of transportation. I think we had a public comment, we'll go ahead and allow that, go ahead.
I 100% sympathize. I have kids in all the schools between my family. But you're forgetting a very big demographic that you're putting at risk with your plan. Band kids are out in that back parking lot practicing in all weather when it's feasible. So they're right there when elementary school kids are being dismissed. What are you gonna do with them?
They won't
Color
be there.
guard? Where are they
There
gonna
will be
be?
no one there. There should be no one there.
No,
They
the
are,
high school
they're-
kids will be gone.
They're there as soon as school is dismissed.
We're not gonna
They-
compromise the
What does
safety
that
of the
have to do
children.
with
That will not be done. There won't be anybody there.
Okay, but where are they gonna be? Because the band room is right there, so they go, as soon as school is dismissed, they go directly back, and then they go to the field. Color guard practice is right there in that road. The band, the drummers practice right there, so I mean,
Are you talking about the high school kids
yes.
leaving? I don't even know that they're going to be parked in the back.
They're-
That
okay,
hasn't been worked out
You're
yet.
saying going around the high school and everything like that, from what it was sounding like to me, going around doing all of those things.
So that's what he's talking about, I think
That's what's happening now. There's 110
Right.
cars that come back there every day.
Okay,
And
so
yes,
when it got misinterpreted, I apologize, I think that's what it sounded like, what I heard with that, was, that's been a big concern too, that's why I was confused with it.
That's
and
why
where
we're going to
Okay.
install it. I
It's
counted
very
100
hard to hear sometimes, so that's why I
Well,
was trying
that's
to get.
because we're in this
information.
FRC room because of the play. Other than that, we would have microphones.
Well, I mean, my kid's in the play too, so I appreciate y'all letting them use that, because they're here until 8 o'clock every day,
It's
so.
at 110 cars is what's lined up now.
Yeah,
That's
oh,
why-
trust me, I mean, I come to get them at 2:30 and they're already lined up. I
We
know it's a
wanna-
big issue, I said.
We're actually gonna eliminate that.
Yeah, okay.
We're
So,
trying.
I appreciate that. That was my concern. I was like, wait, we're just making it worse.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Bashir, you said you would do this, and look, you got your first,
Well,
Hey,
she
there
didn't
went.
hear what we were saying.
I can't hear, I can't hear you.
She didn't hear what we were saying. She
Trying to
thought
wait
we
to
were
get a
gonna
word
have
in.
okay, so Mr. Dorsey has a comment.
He wants to-
Yeah, I waited patiently. It sounds like there's a lot of, changing parts in this policy, and there's going to be an adjustment period. Who does it fall upon to enforce this?
Are you asking me? This is going to fall upon.
I'm asking whoever wants to answer me.
Our supervisors, so we will ensure between security, our director of security, Mr. Yakima, as far as transportation goes, and building and grounds, and myself, that this is, that our teams are in place and we see this through. And then our principals.
So our security will be outside enforcing this?
Yes.
Let me add, Andy, that we must have the citation officer out there to write citations, because you're gonna have,
Exactly.
you're gonna have someone tested, and if they're on our property, we're going to cite them. That's the way I see it. I don't know what the fine is, but we're gonna cite them. And we'll have to make up a citation packet. I don't
You know, we have certain parents who pretty much are gonna do what they wanna do, no matter what the policy is.
Then they'll go see Mr. DeFino. They'll have to go see Mr. DeFino, because I'm telling you, after putting all this work in, anybody that comes through that gate driving 100 miles an hour, if the citation, we have a car now, we'll chase them to the gate with the lights on, and we'll give them a citation. I know I'm being animated here, but I'm just telling you. Anybody wants to sit out here at 7:30 in the morning and watch this fiasco, and then watch it at 8:30, you be my guest. So we have a citation officer, right? He's certified to write a citation. Get in that car, turn those red and blue lights on, and tell the guy at the gate, close the gate, stop him, and cite him. $100.
I just want to reiterate that, you know, I'm thankful and excited to see us implement and try something, so, I'm just looking forward to that. So that's
Everybody out there passed the word.
Anything else from the board on any agenda item? If not, yes, I would entertain a motion to move into executive session. There's a motion. And this again, for the public, is for legal and personnel matters. We will not be returning back to session, so you are free to go. Thank you.